guys, it's Nick of Books Are Sick, and here is a video on a bunch of books that you can crush in a weekend. I think sometimes people are just looking for, it's the end of the work week and they're getting into the weekend and they want to be able to start and finish a book before they go back to work, or maybe they're on vacation and they just want like a quick read, or maybe you're kind of just like getting into reading and you want something that is just not going to take you a whole month or 2 months to read. You just want to be able to get it done in, again, a weekend, maybe a week, whatever. So here are just a bunch of recommendations that books that I really loved and that I think you'll love, and that are on the shorter side for multiple reasons, just in size, or you'll just fall in love with it so much that you can't stop. Anyway, so the first book here that I'm going to recommend is probably going to be the toughest one in the stack here, just based on length. This is probably the longest one. It is 350 pages, but the margins are kind of on your side here. So, again, maybe don't start with this one, but it is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is a book that I absolutely loved, and the reason that I was able to crush this one in a weekend is just because I fell in love with the writing. The writing was just so nice to read. It really was. And, I'm not usually a fast reader, but I started this one random night and I finished it the next morning. I just could not put it down. I really, really loved it. And I don't know a lot about Greek mythology. In fact, I don't know anything about Greek mythology. The way that this was described, this is, oh my God, I shouldn't even brought that up because I can't remember which story. It's like Achilles, you know what I mean? But yeah, great book. I really, really love this one. Again, the longest one in the bunch, so kind of like a weird one to include in this list, but the writing is just so pretty. Madeline Miller can write a book. She really can. And every time she pumps one out now, I'm going to be interested. I got to read that Circe or Cirque or whatever, however you say it. Really excited for that one. I did read her little one that came out. I included it in this pile called Galatia or Galatia. Not sure. This is really small. I actually, if you're looking, I could have made another video like books you can crush on the toilet, because that's what I did. I just kind of, went to the bathroom and finished a book. It was really, again, just so pretty. The writing, her writing is just so it's like simple but beautiful. You know what I mean? It's really, really nice. Very kind of poetic. So yeah, that was really nice too. Big fan of her. And I have a coffee, which if you watched one of my other videos, that's not good for me. But we're going to see how we do. So far, so good. It's snowing. I feel cozy. I feel okay. Safe. Next up. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This is the Yellow Wallpaper. This is I believe it's labeled as a horror book. It is really makes you feel very uneasy. It's a very unnerving sort of book. It is by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. And this is a book that I read kind of blind. And I was like, wow, that was like really creepy, really scary, really whatever. And then kind of looked into what it was about, which you should do too. I would highly recommend that. What I would actually recommend doing is reading this blind, doing a quick Google search on what this story was like really written about, and then reread it, and you'll have a completely different kind of view of it. You'll appreciate it even more, and it might actually make it even that much more scary. And it's a really, really, really quick read. You can read this in probably about 20-30 minutes. I highly, highly recommend it. And this is really old too. This is I believe over 100 years old. So you can probably find it for free most places. I just really like this. I thought this cover was really cool. So I got it. And now I have some creepy yellow wallpaper that every time I look at this, I'm like, no, it's moving. Anyways. Moving along, this is going to be maybe I might be able to keep this around the 10-minute mark, which is kind of my goal. You know what I mean? I keep saying I want to be around 10 minutes, and then it goes to 25 minutes every time. That's because I ramble. Going to try to stop rambling, but I'm going to ramble still. I'm a rambler. I'm a rambling man. Next up, we have Jon Krakauer's Into the Wild. This book rules. This is one of the first nonfiction books that I read, actually. And Jon Krakauer is one of the best. I've only read this one. I have Into Thin Air. I want to get Under the Banner of Heaven. And he has another one too that looked really good. And I can't remember what it was, which is a bummer. However, Into the Wild, just incredible. You've maybe seen the movie with Emile Hirsch, directed by, I believe, Sean Penn. That movie ruled. I really liked that movie when it came out. I watched it a whole bunch of times. I just really kind of felt a bit of a connection with Emile Hirsch's character. Alexander Supertramp, I should say. Not everybody loves him. Not, if you kind of go online, there's a lot of hate towards this story and towards Alexander Supertramp and kind of just how he was like, just kind of like a self-absorbed kind of guy that didn't really care about anybody else but himself. I didn't really view it that way. I not at all. I really felt like I understood this dude. You know what I mean? And so, anyways, Into the Wild was really, really good. And it's a quick read. It's about 200 pages. And it is so, if you like the movie, which I did, you'll love the book. The book is just so much, there's just so much more. And the level of, like, the amount of research that John Krakauer does to write stories like this is pretty incredible. Like, he actually goes to talk to all of these random people who even just had, like, really quick 1-hour encounters with him, and it really ties the whole thing together that much more. Great book. Into the Wild. We'll move along. Okay, I hesitated to put this one on the list because I don't know, do you guys ever read a book really quickly and then you kind of move on with your life? You start reading other books, you start doing other things, you go grocery shopping so many times, and you have showers and you sleep and you wake up and you kind of go back to your bookshelf and you see this book that you've read, but you're like, wait, what was that about again? This is kind of that book for me. I can't fully remember everything about it, if I'm honest, but I remember loving it. I thought it was really cute, really funny, and just kind of like a really nice book to read. And that is The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. I hope I'm saying that right. This book, again, I feel kind of dumb because I can't fully remember the story very, very well, but it is a really quick read. We're talking like 250 pages. The font, again, margins are on your side. It's a small book. And if you're kind of just looking for like a nice read, read that one. I'm going to move on because I probably shouldn't include that one. Okay, next up, for horror fans, for gore fans, for like spooky fans, I picked Tender as the Flesh by Augustina Bezterrica. I feel like I'm butchering that so bad, but I'm not quite sure how to say her name. I'm going to throw that up there. You've probably seen this one on the shelves. It is such a unique cover. I love the cover of this so much. And this is a book that is about, I think it's just under 200 pages, so very crushable in a weekend. And if you're a fan of, I believe they call it body horror, like there's going to be a lot of guts. To not give too much away, humans are being used in basically meat factories, okay? So it's pretty wild. They're being bred as we do, like, kind of, there's a kind of like parallel here as to what we do with cows and pigs and all that. They're kind of being bred for meat factories. It's very much a book that will just have you sucked in, and you won't. It's kind of like a car wreck. You can't look away. You know what I mean? It's very, very freaky, very crushable. Tender as the Flesh. Moving right along, we got A Psalm for the Wild Built. This is a book about a monk and a robot going on a little adventure together, finding themselves. And it is just a really cute, fun, great story. And it's kind of become very popular on the Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram world, and for good reason. I really enjoyed it. One of the more crushable books on this list. It's about 130 pages, and if you're just looking for a heartwarming, sort of fantasy-ish, I guess, sort of not. I mean, there's a robot. Maybe that's sci-fi. I don't know. But great book. And there's actually a sequel to, I have not read yet, called A Prayer for the Crown Shy, that I've heard is just as good, if not better. Excited to check that one out. It's about the exact same length. So, you could probably, if you really wanted to, crush both of these in one weekend and really impress your friends. We're going to stick with the fantasy world. I'm going with Legends and Lattes. Everybody's heard about this book by Travis Baldree. Just a really cozy, low-stakes fantasy book that is a good time, you know what I mean? It's sometimes it's not always what I want. Like, I like suspense and thriller and horror, and that's usually what grabs me in a lot of stories. However, every now and again, especially in the fantasy world, I just want a book where I know everything's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Maybe I've just read something really heavy, like Tender as the Flesh, or, any of Stephen King's books or whatever, and I just want something that I can just kind of like lie back and not worry about. Legends and Lattes is that for me. It's very like, you just know everybody's going to be okay. It's cozy as hell. Travis Baldree crushes this type of book, and I can't wait to read Bookshops and Bone Dust. That's the sequel to this. Yeah, so super crushable. Let's see how long that one is. We're at about 250 pages for that one. You will fly through that one. So for fantasy fans, if you're looking for a crushable book, Psalm for the Wild Built, Legends and Lattes, can't go wrong with either of those. Moving right along, we're going to go with Stephen King's Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. Had to throw a King book in here. This is, outside of the Yellow Wallpaper and that Galatia book, the most crushable book. It's really short. I'm going to stop saying crushable so much. I believe this is about 100 pages long. And obviously, Shawshank Redemption. If you've seen Shawshank Redemption, you will absolutely love this book. There's no question about it. You know, and who doesn't love Shawshank Redemption? It's one of the greatest movies ever made, I think, right? Frank Darabont crushed that movie. I guess I said crushed again. That sucks. But, you know, I think the thing that I really took away from this, and I've said this a few times before, is just how impressive it is that they were able to make one of the greatest movies ever made off this, like, 95-page book. You know what I mean? I find that just so impressive. And it's kind of interesting, too, because another really short Stephen King book is The Body, and they made Stand By Me off of that, which is, again, one of the greatest movies ever made, I think. So it's almost kind of like they have more luck making movies out of his short stories than they do his longer form stuff, and maybe there's something to that. I'm not going to deep dive that right now, but Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, really fun, really great read. You could do that in a day. If you really put your mind to it, you could do that in a day. No problem at all. We only have one more. It's one of my favorite books ever, actually. So I'm excited to share this one. You've probably heard of it if you heard of John Green Rules, and that is Looking for Alaska. This is a YA book, and I remember thinking, like, when I was first, like, kind of getting into reading last year, I was like, oh, YA, like, that kind of means it's like it wouldn't be for me, like, YA. That is evidently not the case at all, because I absolutely love this book. And I think YA books, by and large, the ones that I've read, I've loved them all. I feel like YA, it's just one of those classifications where you see it and you're like, oh, it's YA. But, you know, as I've kind of grown as a reader, I've realized that YA is just like, it doesn't matter at all. You know, there's some absolutely incredible YA books. And this is one of them. You know, Looking for Alaska, I thought really made me feel so many feelings. You know what I mean? I was feeling all the stuff. I loved this book. I just really connected with everybody. The story itself, I was just like, wow, like just kind of putting yourself in that sort of situation and trying to, like, you know, go through the mental gymnastics of, you know, figuring out what happened to your friend and what, you know, it's just, I love this book. This is another book I read in about a day and a half. I just could not put it down. It's on the shorter side for sure. We're at about just over 200 pages for this one. And I've said this a whole bunch of times that the margins are definitely on your side for this one. It is a great book. If you want to feel the stuff, Looking for Alaska. And you know what? To be honest with you, in terms of books you could get through in a weekend, pretty well, I would say all of John Green's books fit that bill, you know? I've read The Fault in Our Stars, which was amazing. Fault in Our Stars, you will laugh so hard, you know, and it's just a gut punch of a book, you know what I mean? It's just like, you're happy. Bah! It's awful, you know, in the best way. Turtles All the Way Down is another one that I really quite enjoyed, and that is, they're all about the same length, I want to say, you know what I mean? So pretty much insert any John Green book into books you can crush in a weekend, and you got it. Turtles All the Way Down, another great one. But if I had to pick a favorite, I'm picking Looking for Alaska. Still, it's the first one I read by him, so it's kind of just like, it's got a thing here, you know what I mean? Although Fault in Our Stars is friggin'... And Turtles All the Way Down, you know what I mean? I'm rambling again, but those are the books I think that you can crush in a weekend. Let me know your favorite books that you think are weekendable, because I love those kind of books, you know what I mean? I'd love to add to this pile. And hope you are having the best day. It is snowing like a psychopath out here, and I love you. Okay.